Thank you for having me.
We'll start straight away with this group called the Douala group. So many persons have heard about it. When Professor Maurice Kamto was in Paris recently, there was a communique that came from the Douala group, and lots of moves have been undertaken since the preparation for this year's presidential election. What is this group all about?
Well, the group of Douala is made up of opinion leaders who have one thing in common, is that they've been for many, many years involved in the struggle for democracy and the improvement of Cameroonian people's lives. I want to, for the sake of your televiewer, kind of introduce myself very quickly.
Okay.
I have my political life spans through about 40 years. I started working on the ground at the time where there was no democracy in Cameroon.
Okay.
And then I got arrested in 1988. Spent 3 years in political prison. Went in front of the military court, which sentenced me for 3 years for subversion. And then I was freed in August of 1990. As a result of national and international pressure. And then, when I got out of jail, I formed a group, a pressure group at the time called Cap Liberté, and we were very instrumental in not only forming the coordination of opposition party and associations, which turned later on into the Union for Change in 1992, but also in organizing the Ghost Town. That lasted about 6 months to pressure the government to give more democracy at the time. Unfortunately, my movement was banned. I was forced into exile, and then I spent 5 years in Burkina Faso from 1991 to 1996. When I came back in 1997, I formed a political party. I went to elections in 1997, then to the presidential election of 2004. And then our party decided at the time that the way the election was rigged, it was a useless case. So we decided to withdraw from political party politics, and then moved into more civil society development, because we felt that there was two problems. Not only the government was unwilling to provide democracy, but the people themselves did not have the level of political consciousness that was necessary. So it took time. You had to make change in a long range, and then that's why we created the civil society network, of which I'm the president. That has a nice program that is called ABC Democracy, whose goal is to politically educate the masses and then form the next generation of political and civil leaders. So that's just to give you an idea. And then we are therefore in the group of Douala with this type of people like myself. People that have been in the struggle for long, many years.
And Sambaka
has been there for a long time. And then we working to get some more people of that type of category into the group. So I have to be very plain from the start. The group of Douala is not a new coalition. No, that's not what it is. There are many coalitions that are being formed, as you may know. The APC.
There's a coalition around Professor Maurice Kamto.
Yeah, there's one.
There's one around Barrister
Akeremuna. There's another one.
The SDF says they are into a coalition with trade unions.
With trade unions, that's right. And then you have one for the Alliance for Refounding Transition. That started with Bilay and stuff like that. And then, I was a part of and stuff. And then, you have so many coalitions and then so many different groups and individuals that are out there working. What the group of Douala said was, what we want to do is to interconnect those various groups.
Okay.
We're aware of the Federalist group also, of Atemkem and stuff like that. So we are talking, we're trying to talk with everybody, the political parties, and then principally those that have a candidate for the presidential election, the civil society organization, the Cameroonian people themselves, to try to form an anti-CPDM front.
Okay.
For this 2025 presidential election.
Okay, he's been into political activism for a very, very long time, the late 70s, early 90s.
That's right.
He was part of the generation of Pan-Africanist students, activists at the University of Yaoundé, helping to launch the club SECA.
SECA, that's correct.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
He founded several political movements advocating for multi-party democracy, including P2, Cap Liberté, and Movement for Democracy and Independence.
Interdependence, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. MDI.
Yes. He opposed the current regime since the 90s. He was detained multiple times and even exiled to Burkina Faso and South Africa. Notably arrested in 1990 alongside other activists protesting human rights abuses, detained without charge for 16 months under harsh conditions, drawing criticisms from Amnesty International. So this is the person we are going to be discussing with tonight, and he has established the base for what the group is all about, the Douala group. Why now?
Well, everything... Nature hates vacuum.
Okay.
As we are working toward
The
the presidential election,
Yeah.
in a context that is fairly special, in the sense that there is internationally a shift of power from the West weakening and then new powers rising up. And particularly France, that has a grip on Cameroon, losing influence, and then with African countries that are freeing themselves from them chasing French ambassadors and then armies all over the continent. That is from the outside condition. And then inside, what we have is a weakening system, in the sense that the monarch is getting older, and then battles for succession are making the regime a little bit more brittle than it used to be. We believe that the 2025 election, if the people of Cameroon and then those that have been fighting for change organize themselves better, maybe this time, after 5 elections that we lost, we might win this one.
Okay.
So the group of Douala was formed to talk to people, draw their attention on the past experiences, so that this time we might, fulfill the wish of the majority of Cameroonian, which is to see a Cameroonian truly democratic, and then truly with a government that is truly working for the interest of the general interest of the Cameroonian masses.
When people hear about the of Douala, the tendency that comes to the mind is what we are observing today. We have in the south, some people say, we les écans.
Yes.
We are supposed to safeguard our backyard. The northerners, we've seen so many of them come out to say, it is time for us to bring power back to our backyard. We have the Anglophones. We have the Bamilekes also would think that this time, it gives also the impression that maybe this is a group that seeks the interest of the people of Littoral or the Sawa people.
No, absolutely not. And then, in fact, that's a little struggle that we have even within the group. Why are we calling ourselves the group the Douala? But in reality, this has no ethnic or regional connotation whatsoever. And the group of Douala called itself Group of Douala simply because when we met at first, we met in Douala. And then most of the people, the founders or so-called, are people that lived in Douala for a long time and then were very, very active in the ghost town preparation at the time. That's all. But it has no connotation, and it has nothing to do with this deplorable tendency that we see now of ethnicization of the political scene. I found it so counterproductive at a time where the nation as a whole need to come together to save ourselves from the grip of a system that has maintained us for 43 years in the sort of collective folly, that people, instead of coming together and then finding a new foundation, setting up a new foundation for the future, that rather you see elements coming out saying like Albert Zongan for the Bamileke, c'est notre tour. And then, you have some other guy that is in the north said the pouvoir will go back, that power will go back to the north. And then you have people coming out, no, it's time for an Anglophone to be president. Or it is a time for whatever. Let me tell you, Mr. Kum, what I really think about this issue. There is no such thing in Cameroon. In the past 65 years that we've had a Cameroonian government where an ethnic group has ever been in power.
Okay.
Let's just be very clear about this. What we always had in power in Cameroon was an oligarchy that was formed by the colonial masters, and that was always carefully crafted by ethnic factions. That is, they went in every ethnic group and then got some few people, form an oligarchy, and then that has been ruling the country for the 25 years under Aijo, then the 43 years under Biya. The problem with that oligarchy is not the fact that they are an oligarchy as such, because every country is generally ruled by a smaller number of people. But like even in China, the Communist Party is a small group of people. The problem with this oligarchy is that, number one, they do not serve the interests of the Cameroonian people. They serve themselves. First, they make it a priority to serving themselves and then serving the foreign powers that help them stay in power. That's the first thing that is problematic with them. The second thing is that they use and manipulate our ethnic, linguistic differences to keep themselves in power, to stop the people from getting together and then getting rid of them. So what we have to do is to not fall into this game of making it feel like it is all the Francophones that are fighting against the Anglophone, it is all the Betis that are fighting against the Bamileke, whatever. This is a joke. There is no such thing happening in Cameroon where there's a group of people, just conniving at night to go and then kill other people. There's no such thing. We have a government that is made of all sorts of different people from all sorts of ethnic groups.
Almost every, yeah.
You have a lot of Anglophones that have been in power. The family is rich. They're all there. They rich while the most Anglophone people are poor. You have people in the north that are very rich, like this one, Usman May. His father was a governor for a long time. He lived a very rich life. But the people in the north are extremely poor, even though Paul Aijo was president for 25 years. And then we recently even heard from some people in the south. Paul Biya has been president for 43 years. If you want to see bad roads, poor living condition, go to the south. And then you find out that it is not the people of the south that are ruling the country. It has nothing to do with them. They are suffering from this bad government, like all Cameroonians are suffering from bad government. Of course, the impact, the negative impact of the government is affecting people quite differently. It's not the bad effects might be slightly different here and there, though each group may be thinking, I am more oppressed than the other group. But generally speaking, when you study scientifically this regime, you find out that it is a bad regime. We have to get rid of it. And then we have to create a new dispensation where all Cameroonians are taken care of properly.
Okay. Somebody who is watching says I should ask you that you lived in Burkina Faso.
Yes,
your
sir.
appreciation of what is happening there, and whether you are getting this inspiration from what is obtaining in Ivory Coast to want to bring the opposition back here together.
Yes, sir. In fact, I've been lucky to have had in contact with Burkina Faso since 1987.
Okay.
I went to Burkina Faso in 1987. At the time, it was Thomas Sankara that was president. I've been a young Pan-Africanist for a long time. In fact, when I finished my studies in the U.S., I had written to the government of Burkina Faso and told them, hey, I don't know what I'm going to go through in Cameroon. Cameroon has a whole lot of MBAs and PhDs and stuff. Can I come to Burkina Faso and help? And then the response of the ambassador was, why don't you go to Cameroon first and then see, then we pick you up from there. So in 1987, when I got to Cameroon, I got busy. I set up a company and stuff like that. We were making computers. But in 1987, I managed to go back there. Met the president, Thomas Sankara, and then unfortunately he was killed right away. But I went back in 1988 because Blaise sent to call me and then say, look, it was an accident, blah, blah, blah. You know, so you have to come back. And they wanted me to set up the same factory over there.
Under Blaise Compaoré.
Yes, under Blaise Compaoré. But as I was going there for business purposes, I have to be frank with you, I was also going there for political reasons. Ouagadougou at the time was the mecca of all the progressive groups in Africa, mainly in West Africa. And then that's where I was lucky to really work with all sorts of political leaders, be the civil political leaders like Issoufou in Niger, Alpha Konaré in Mali. I mean, you name it. Even Charles Taylor and Fode Sanko of Liberia and Sierra Leone. I met them, all of them. So I have had that luck of meeting all those people, particularly because I was in exile in Burkina Faso for about 5 years. Okay. And then, so my political ideas are based on, maybe I would say, the ideological leaning that I have when I was young, but the experience that I gained in West Africa. And then I have to say one thing, is that in West Africa, the people are more politically aware and more politically educated, and then have a better sense of organization than, unfortunately, we have in Central Africa. And then I am therefore drawing from that experience, and then I hope to share it with my fellow countrymen. Okay.
This person is Che Mboni. Is writing from Bamenda. I hope he has answered your question, Che Mboni. So many persons are sending questions. I hope that we will have time for him to go through these questions. But now, you say the group of Douala has nothing to do with regional ethnic leaning, because if you look through the names, you see Anise Kane, which should be from
Bomono, yes.
From Littoral. Some other persons are coming from different areas. So the group has nothing to do.
No ethnic connotation whatsoever.
So since the creation of this group, what are the actions you've undertaken so far?
Let me first tell you what is our general strategy, and then I'll tell you exactly how we implemented it.
Okay.
The general strategy is to meet all the political parties and all the active social civil society organizational leaders and all the coalitions, the existing coalitions that are there, through dialogue and persuasion, to get them to understand the necessity of unifying our efforts toward this election in 2025. But we also have, as a second leg of our strategy, to talk to the Cameroonian people, to get them involved so that they take the responsibility and then punish the political leaders that will not go for the unifying factor, because this is one occasion in a lifetime. If we miss this, we might have to stay for 50 more years with the type of bad government. So if a political leader are too selfish to put their personal interest underneath the general interest, then the Cameroonian people have to identify them, put friendly pressure on them, and if they do not respond, punish them by not voting. They are declared as presidential candidate. We met them, and then we had response from them, and we published the response, because when we meet people, whatever they say, we say to the Cameroonian people, yes, that we saw this person, and that person, and then they responded like this. Now, The latest people that we met was actually Mr. Bello Buba and then Issa Chiruma, that just resigned. You know, so people have the impression that's when we started. No, we just kind of ending up with them as far as political, as far as presidential candidates are concerned. Yeah. Yes, but we still have a way to go. So the response that we had was somewhat.
Can the population, the audience, the televiewers are watching us today, get some insights into what some of them told you?
Yes, absolutely. Before before Bello Buba and Chiruma resigned, yes, there was a general dynamic in the country. There were some political parties that thought, oh, we're big enough, are we going to win? So it's only Biya and us, and then all the others are not really that important. So there was a tendency of political parties to believe that they could go it alone, right? As unrealistic as it might be, there was this idea behind some parties, yes, even most of them, I have to be honest, most of them gave a response like, oh, yeah, we hear what you're saying, but, honestly, we can they gave lip service to it, but never took that seriously. Okay. And then, so let's be frank, neither Kamto nor, because Kamto has he say he has a coalition with, they're just two parties in it. Him and then Ninche. And then I wouldn't call Ninche even a party, it's a half of or something. So then Joshua said that they were busy already campaigning and organizing the campaign. Same sort of response from Cabral Libi. And then others that we met, Akere on the other hand said something like, yes, this is what I think that we should do. But to be fair also, Kamto, in as much as his militant was saying they could do alone, he said that, yeah, it's something that we can think of. Okay. But those are the two that kind of gave a favorable response. But something happened. Once Bello and Chiruma resigned, then they found out that the whole dynamic had changed. Yeah. Because people that thought that they were the biggest party found out that they're not the biggest party, because everybody think they're big, right? So if you talk to SDF will tell you, oh, we have 5 member of parliament.
We have national representation.
We spread it all over the place, and then we're the oldest political party in the scene. Then you talk to Cabral will tell you I have 5 and then 200 councillors. You talk to Kamto, he tell you that, look, I was in Paris and then I managed to have 5,000 people. So everybody is a leader of opposition. Then there come Bello. Bello has 7 MPs, so more than all of them.
He has more councillors.
He has 562 councillors. Yeah. He manages 1 region out of the 10 regions of Cameroon. So suddenly, everybody was like, so he has humbled everyone. And then you saw that the dynamic of talking just was revived. And you saw a lot of the people now being more attentive to our talk on the one end. And then second, you saw almost all of them trying to go and then talk to Bello and Chiruma. So, which is good. So I don't want to shame anyone. I think that at the end of the day, we have to rejoice that certain things happen that got everybody to wake up and then understand that whatever plans they had before will simply not work. Okay. There is no way in Cameroon one can beat this regime if there is no coalition between 2 of the electoral village against 1, because there's more or less 3 electoral villages in Cameroon. I would say what I would call the Grand West, which is made of northwest, southwest, littoral, and then
The West.
the west regions, and then you have the north, northern, the Grand North, which is Adamawa, North and Far North, and then you have the center, the east, and then the south.
The Grand Sud.
The Grand South, and then so if you study the electoral process throughout the years, you see that there are tendencies of vote. There's some voting patterns that you can see. In the Grand West, is the strong region of contestation, and then those are people that were able to show their force with the Union for Change in 1992, and then they had nearly 40% of the vote. And then the North at the time split with CPDM, Bolo taking 20%, and then CPDM the rest. 20% of the entire vote, but they didn't take all the vote of stuff, because CPDM managed to get this fake vote from Far North that they always get. And then of course in the South region, CPDM kind of the Grand South region, CPDM kind of won, except for the Center region, which is always hotly contested. That is around Haijo, around Yaoundé. There's always a lot of contestation. The big cities are always hotly contested. So now something that's happening here in electoral arithmetics is that the Ambazonian process has killed the influence of Anglophone in the vote since 2018, in fact. Since 2017, because of the insecurity in that region, most opposition leaders cannot go there to vote. People are displaced, and then the only people that can vote are those that are CPDM, close CPDM people that are felt secured, and then they are allowed to vote. And then we saw in 2018 the level of abstention in the Northwest and Southwest that was fairly high. It was very, very high, almost, I think, sometimes 80%. And then it is my view that the government is actually entertaining that insecurity because it benefits them. It benefits them to eliminate that entire CPDM vote in the Northwest and Southwest.
The government has done a lot to stop what is happening out there.
I personally think that they could have done more, because this is not a military issue. You cannot solve this thing by sending troops. Why haven't they called the people to talk? Why haven't there's so many solutions that they can vote. But let's not. I don't want to divert into that one, but let's just say that whether the government did it on purpose or not, one thing that is clear today is that the Grand West vote is weakened by the predicted abstention, the North and South abstention that is kind of great, the insecurity that is there, the impossibility for people to go and vote, and then the fact that there was a lot of people that were displaced by the war. As a result, it is almost impossible, even if you were to unite that vote like we were able to do in 1992 with the Union for Change, to get anything close to 39%. It's impossible. So the Grand North working with that Grand West is the thing that can bring about the possibility of change. Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm enjoying the program. Thank your guest a lot for what he is educating us on. Hello, Mr. Liu. Your guest and the guest in the studio is speaking the minds of Cameroonians. Peter Mwam is watching us from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Peter Mwam. Oops, it's difficult to read them. Just I want to take read one or two, and then we continue with the program. This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu. My name is Nas Cyprian. I'm watching from Three Corners in Womb. Tayong Lovett says, I'm watching from Gusi in Tombel. Providence She says, good evening, Mr. Liu. There, She Providence, I'm watching from Bamenda. Ngala Evelyn says she's watching us right away from Suza. Ngopa Elvis is watching from Libreville. Jully is watching from Accra in Ghana. Samrich is watching us live from Gaundere. Claudette Laika says, good evening, I'm watching from Fumbot. Mr. Leo, more courage to you. Cameroon will surely change by your efforts. Thank you. Kanu Eunice, I'm watching from Douala Bonaberi forever. Johnny Clan says, good evening, Boya, I'm watching live. And Don Peter says, hello, Mr. Leo, your guest at the studio is speaking the minds of the people. Tell him to amplify his activities. Okay. Emilia C is watching us from Moyuka. And Chichala Hero is watching us from Bonaberi in Rai. Good evening to all of you who are watching us across Cameroon. Can we know detailedly what you discussed with Minister Bello Buba Maigari and Issa Chiroma?
Yes. Before I answer your question, Mr. Leo, I would like to say to the people that are being displaced by the war in the northwest and southwest, to please go ahead and then register where they find themselves, because it's very, very important that they do. And then I can also say to those that are in the bushes and then stopping people from doing stuff, that if they could give a truce for a break, so that people can go and vote massively, because we might obtain through the ballot what they have not been able to obtain through the bullet. So that's, having said that, I'll go back to the question of what have we done with Mr. Bello and then Mr. Chiruma.
Yes.
All of them were absolutely receptive to the notion of working together. I have to say to you that Anissa Ikanen and us and I, we know them, because we work with them in the coordination of political parties and association in the 1990s, so 1990 to 1992 almost. Even if after that Bello decided to rather run alone, but we got to know them. They can be, I would say, astute political people. And if you agree with them, they usually hold to their agreement. When they don't hold it, they come to you and then tell you,
we're no
longer there. And then just like they did with Paul Biya, they worked with him. When they left us, we didn't discover that they had left us. They came and then told us, no, hey, we are going to join him and then stay with him, because when you look at the relationship of forces, this is what we think. Now this time they pulled out, because they told us we signed with someone, but we can't see that person anymore. We have the impression that there's somebody else that is ruling the country. And then, so when we look at the pressure from our militants, we are like, hey, if we can't see Biya, and then our militants are telling us, walk out of this deal, it's the best way for us to walk out of this deal. They have a keen understanding that if they just run each one of them, they can win. That one they know for sure. So we talked about that. And then what we agreed was to do everything possible to call all the political leaders to come and then see how we could go to this election together. So these two people are really into it. Of course, you have some voices coming out saying, hey, yeah, you spent all your 20 years with Biya, or 19 years or 15 years.
I was going to ask you that question.
Yes.
How do you trust? Many persons are still not very convinced. They see it as a
trick, a CPDM trick, maybe.
As another ploy by the government to weaken the opposition. And once the opposition gets weakened, they fall back to their previous collaboration.
Well, look, Mr. Kamto was also in the government, and then he has around him somebody like Zongang that was really the worst person that you can possibly think of working with. Mr. Zongang was among the people that were chasing us and trying to kill us here in the 1990s, fought against multipartism and everything. All I'm saying is that today we can't think that way, because at the end of the day, it will not be Chiruma or Bello that will make the difference. It's going to be the people. If the group of Douala will make sure, and then that's the only promise that we can make, is that there won't be no dark agreement. Everything that we say, like you hear me here, we talk to them, we talk to the people, because the people is our only the people interest is our only compass. And then transparency is very, very important when you're fighting this type of fight. Is when you start hiding things that you have traitors to coming in. But if we go through the process like we plan to, that is number one, get a common political platform that is different from that of all political parties. The political parties, we cannot get together around, say, the program of CRM or the program of PCLN or UNDP. Or that will not happen. If they want to stick to their personal program, they will have to go alone. The moment we work together, it means that we will find a common ground, minimum program that we will say, okay, if we win, this is what we will do for maybe 3 years or 4 years. We will bring about this type of institutional changes, and that one will not be the program of this party or that party. If those people say they agree to it, now the next step will be, let's pick then the candidate that is best, most appropriate to carry this candidacy. That will be a second thing. But by that time, they will have agreed to that program. You understand? So if they depart from it, then the people know what to do. Don't vote for them. But that's why I'm speaking to the party militants first, that sometimes are fanatical about their leaders. I want to tell them, it's not the leader that have the power, it's you. If you sense that unity is good, then put pressure on your political leader and threaten him of not voting for him if he departs from the unifying thing. The second thing that I want to say also is that only about 8% of Cameroonians are card-carrying members. All right? So let's not give to those political leaders more power than they actually have. What we have to do is to educate the people and then tell them this is the minimum program that will be necessary to change Cameroon, to make Cameroon go through the foundation, and then follow the person that comes to you with that program, and then vote for him. Put your voice behind it, and then we will have change. So that's basically the approach of the group of Douala. So I don't sit down here and then worry what somebody eats at night when I'm not there.
To our guest, thank you for your service. My question to you is this: of all the candidates, who do you believe has the real potential to bring about the change we've been hoping and praying for all these years? And do you think that at this stage, meaningful change is only possible through military intervention? This person is watching us from Canada. The military option is
no, of course, clearly. We the group of Douala said clearly that our option is through the ballot. Okay, so we can't be discussing the military option. However, as far as the notion of who is best than the other, I have to tell you plainly, there's no one that is better than the other. Because when you make a coalition of that type, you are not necessarily looking for the best people, whatever the best that means. You're looking for the person that brings consensus.
Okay.
You run away from divisive people. And then, so you look for not the loudest person, usually the person that's most humble, that listens to others and stuff like that. So I would say I don't have no names, but I have maybe a profile.
Okay.
The profile should be a person that is well educated. And then by well educated, I don't mean that they have to have a PhD or anything like that, but just a person that can read a complex economic document and understand it, be perfectly bilingual, so that they can address the Cameroonian people in a language that they best can understand, each one of them. Having been known for struggling for the betterment of Cameroonian for a long time, and then have their own personal means of survival, and then, and most importantly, have no criminal or moral thing on their head. So if a person has those 5 characteristics and then is humble, and then can get all the people to easily, agree with him,
Okay.
Then that'll be fine. It doesn't have to be
I hope it
anybody.
answers your question, brother
Yes.
watching us from Canada. Buinda Victor is watching us from Douala. Good evening to you, dear big brother. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Kwe Moses watching from Sokapam in Bongo. This is in Sanaga Maritime, somewhere behind here. Were you shocked to note that Issa Chiroma Bakari is a minister, which means that he's not poor? He runs councils and has MPs. He says, I'm resigning and I'm declaring for presidency.
Yes.
Bello Buba does same.
Yes.
Though he has officially not resigned, but he's declared that he's running for presidency.
Yes.
He has 7 MPs and runs so many councils up there.
Yeah, and then one
Now,
region.
Yes, they are from within and say we are ready to go in a coalition. And then persons with far less power than them, who do not actually understand how the government works like these guys, say we do not need a coalition. Can we understand that?
Yes, there's a new breed of political actors that came to the fore lately that suffer from lack of experience. I have to say that. I admire the work that they have done, and then I think that they are to be commended for their contribution to the fight for the improvement of the situation in Cameroon. But I can but reckon that some of them lack political experience,
Okay.
and then are sometimes too easily content by the yes men that are around them. You see, most political parties, especially those that were created in 2018 or something like that, they function much like born-again churches, where they have this head of the political party that's like a pastor, and then all the members just believe in him, and then you can't say nothing bad about him, and then everything he does is good, and then they just function with each other, and then think that what they believe in their church is what the whole world believe, and then so they fool themselves like that, thinking that because hey, like you take a leader, I won't name no names, but they will recognize themselves. They just sit, and then if on 100 person that they meet per day, there are 100 members of the church that tell them how great they are and then how good they are, and that everywhere that they went, everybody said that they were great. But those members, they sit only and then talk only with church members, and of course they reinforce each other into the belief that everybody believe that that's it. So it's lack of political experience. These people that just came out of government, Bello for one, I can speak about him because I started working with Bello on the ground.
Okay.
In 1987.
Wow.
I wasn't meeting with him personally, but I was meeting with his representative in Ouagadougou, with Gerandi. Also, that was in Ouagadougou at the time, and then some UPC members. Bello was prime minister of Mr. Biya. He resigned.
He was the first
prime minister. Yes, and then he resigned, and then went to Nigeria, and then in Nigeria he formed on a grand political party called UNDPC. Later on, took out the C to become UNDP. And then started working with leftist parties like UPC and then the P2. I was a member of, despite our fundamental ideological differences, because, Aijo was, in my eyes, he was a criminal. He was killing, like when you were in opposition under Aijo, I mean, you were as good as dead. But we worked with him. Then when he came back, he came and joined the coordination. And then, so we had this coordination of people that had true political experience. And then, made of statesmen like Samuel Eboa, that was a former General Secretary of the Presidency, Bello, that was a former Prime Minister, and then you had a lot of ministers and stuff like that in the coordination. So these people know exactly what power is, compared to these people that all their life have always been out of power and they don't know.
Okay.
So they have a sort of idealistic view of power, not understanding that power sometimes necessitates some compromise,
Okay,
not
Mr. Jikam, I don't know how criminal President Ahijo was, but he is the first president of our Cameroon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And should be respected.
If the people tell them, no, we turn our back on you if you do not come together, then maybe they will listen to the masses of the people. So I put the responsibility squarely on the Cameroonian people. We will play our part in terms of educating them and then giving them the truth on the positions of the leaders. I don't mean to be threatening to anyone. I'm just saying that if they know that if they meet us, we will not hide. We will tell what they say. We will not lie on them, never. But we will speak the truth to the people.
Good evening, Mr. Kum and guests. My name is John Daniel. My question is that considering the present constitution of Cameroon and the electoral code of the country, especially with the president having firm grip over the government, and we know what will surely happen at the judicial council appointed by the president himself, with the president of the elections answerable to the president, how can we have a fair and free elections, especially considering the verdict of the 1992, with Frunze winning the elections and the results attributed to Paul Biya? Thanks. Do we need to move away from what?
Yes, no. What happened is that we have had regimes that were more repressive, more entrenched than the one that we have today, and that ultimately lost. I would take the case of Gambia, where Gambia might be a very small country, but I'll just take that case because the president organized the election and then lost the election. Yeah, Jamie. And but the thing I want to also to say to the brother that called there is that you have to always remember, I had proposed to political parties a software that allowed for parallel vote counting. Yes. So, unfortunately, at the time, this new political party coming in did not even understand what I was offering. I have improved the software, and then we will put it in action this time, but not passing through political parties. It's going to be through civil society organization, and then try to the way it works is actually everybody can download it. It's an app on Android app. You can download it, and then you just go in a voting station and enter the result that you see and take a picture. Then we'll be able to centralize it, and then we will have the result.
Is that where we are failing, not knowing that technology has brought facilities with which we can monitor, observe?
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yes, we're failing in understanding the technology. That technology do exist, for one. Second, we lack sometimes the organizational ability, because you see there were 31,000 voting station, polling station in 2018. There's likely to be like 35,000 this time, because we stand at about 8 million voters. So the more voters, the more polling stations. So the more it becomes difficult for one political organization, for one political party, to have members in all those, because you have to have two people.
Yeah.
And then if you take two people, you have to give them 5,000 each just to travel there, and then have some to bite. For the rest of the day, that's 10,000. When you make it by 30,000, that's 300. That's 200 million. So how many political parties can up 300 million in one day to make sure they're present everywhere? So the only way to do this is when you are too many of them. when a lot of organization, volunteer organization, stuff like that, they do it, and then the technology now come to be able to, bring all those things at once. And then I used that software in Burkina Faso in 2015, 1 hour after we had the results.
Okay, but
and now we will not proclaim it because it's illegal, but we will wait when Electoral proclaim the result, and then we'll be able to tell them, yes, it corresponds to what really happened or not.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thank you very much for your guest, who is so insightful. I want to ask him if Elecam can be trusted for transparency. Damgwa Golof is watching from Boya. Good evening, Prime. I'm Dennis, and from Boya. Special greetings to you guys. Yes, we need a coalition government to be able to defeat the current regime. Wind of change is coming. Good evening, Mr. Liu. There is no opposition in Cameroon. Kamto, Bello Buba, and Issa Chiroma, all of them are still working with the CPDM. All of them should go and sit down. Let new people that have Cameroon come on board. Thanks. Are we not also suffering from this? That is, the same persons have been around for so long. Did you factor that as, to some extent, responsible for voter apathy? And when people at this juncture still hold on to what they learned of the 1992 presidential elections that accordingly was stolen, is it not a pointer to the fact that political parties have failed to move the mindset of their followers from the 1990s to 2025, and that civil society organizations have not done enough of what you are doing now?
I have to tell you that indeed what we're facing today is the result of some fundamental failure of political and then civil actors. Okay. But we also have to take into account that they were working under a very, very difficult environment. But let's take responsibility for one thing first, because it's easy to always blame the government for everything, right? But the opposition itself failed to understand, number one, what truly happened in 1992. As of January 1993, Frundi and the SDF were the number one to destroy the Union for Change. Rather than carrying it as a political force that they would go with, Frundi started saying, I'm the one that won, because I'm special, because whatever, I don't know. And then the SDF started saying, we are the party that won, and if you want to continue the struggle, you must join the SDF. Whereas we had created a coalition that had people with different ideology. I'm not a social democrat. I'm a socialist more to the left than social democracy, which is like center left. So I would not join the SDF. But I can work with the SDF to achieve specific short-term or medium-term goals. So for them to, after we worked together, we got a certain result. For them to confiscate that result created a lot of resentment. That was part of it. And then you start seeing political parties now being afraid to join a coalition, of saying that if we put somebody in front, then he will just steal this whole thing. It's almost like somebody starts in Jangi, right? And then when he wins the thing, it breaks to Jangi. You say, okay, no, there's no more Jangi. So that was one thing that really played in our disfavor. The second thing that played in our disfavor was the fact that political parties failed to truly educate the militants. And then educate the masses, because there's a duty that political have toward not only their members, but also toward the Cameroonian people in elevating their level of political consciousness. If you check all the political parties now, very, very few of them have an academy to train their members. So what they develop is this, what I call messianism. I don't know how to say it in English, but where you have the leader that's like semi-god,
the savior,
like the savior syndrome, and then where the leader is a savior, he's a good, he's a this, and then he's that, And then what is expected from militant is to believe in him, like Christian believe in Jesus. So so this tendency, as time went by, gave to the opposition, made the opposition divided. Let's say, put it like that. And the division of opposition is the 80% of the cause of voters' apathy. Because the people feel like, hey, if you are divided, where am I going to put my voice? And then you're going to lose anyway, so why waste my time? And then you can see that, I've studied the elections scientifically. I can send that to you later on, with the graphs and everything, showing clearly that the only thing that's been going up is not even actually Mr. Biya's number of voices for presidential election, because he won in 2018 with 2.5 million votes. But you know how many abstention there were? About 3 million. Yeah. So as of 2011, the people that abstained from voting were more than the vote of Mr. Biya. So that tells you a serious thing, that the people are rejecting not only Mr. Biya as such, but they are absolutely rejecting opposition too. And then opposition has to understand them, therefore, why. I see people making campaign to have more people registered to vote. I'm like, no, the campaign that you must be doing is to get the people that are registered to actually go and vote, and then give them a reason to do so. And then the only reason that will make them go, there's two reasons that will make them go. One is that they see a sense of unity. Two, that they see that you've organized to protect their vote. And then that's what we're trying to bring this year.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Sostenos O2. I'm watching from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Archie Peter, watching live from Kai village. Accept warm greetings from Kai. Yes, I passed through Kai from Bengui towards Bali once. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thank you very much for your guest who is so insightful. I want to ask him if LFCAM can be trusted. I'm sure he's going to talk about that. Hello, Mr. Liu. Your guest at the studio is speaking the minds of so many persons out here. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Fung Nasco, watching you from Womb. I'm really happy with most of your TV shows. Bravo to you. Thank you, Nasco. Please, what we want from Abia is that he should peacefully by Usman in Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Kum and dear listeners of my Media Prime TV. I'm called Brandon from Bamenda. My question is, what concrete evidence does Elekam has to show that the voting will be transparent? Mr. Leo, good evening. If we are pleading for coalition and they are stubborn, we are not sure that tomorrow when elected they will hear our cry. Nzanwi writing from Bamenda, is that not the core issue here? If people are saying this is what we want and you are giving a deaf ear, what when you take power, will you actually listen to them?
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying voters' apathy. He said it clearly. We will not go and vote for you if we tell you we want coalition. You're not giving us coalition, because if we vote you in, you definitely won't be listening to us. And then that's the message that that we're trying to pass to all the political leaders, the presidential candidates, and then tell them, look, the people are saying they want you to work together to put your selfish interest, second to the general interest. So do it. Can Elekam be trusted? No, absolutely not. They cannot be trusted.
When you say Elekam cannot be trusted,
yes,
are you not also adding to voter apathy? Because
no, I am not.
You want people to go and vote.
I am.
You say Elekam cannot be trusted.
No. I am. Let me explain. You cannot sit home, just go and vote, and then go back home.
Okay, without
sitting there monitoring. Yeah. That's right. That's what I mean. So there's you cannot. The electoral code, when you studied it plainly. We have one of the best electoral code, in fact. People are saying they want it to change. The problem is not to change the code itself. The problem is, how do you best use it? The way the electoral code is now, it has some flaws. I'm not saying that it's the best. No. It needs to be changed and improved. However, despite it being bad, this is the trick, Mr. Kum. Each polling station give the results immediately after the vote. Immediately. Where opposition has been failing is the ability to be present everywhere. But now, when they get those results from the polling stations, then they are centralized at one level, then centralized at another level, then centralized at another. That's where the cheating takes place.
Okay.
But it doesn't take place inside the polling station, and will not take place at the polling station if people vote and then stay there for the counting. So I'm saying to Cameroonian, stay there for the counting and then download this app, and then we will have the result, and then those people that rig in the adding of the vote will be embarrassed, because if you have the numbers and then you have the pictures.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu, an esteemed panelist. Thank you for lending your voice to the growing call for a coalition and a move many Cameroonians believe is crucial at this moment in our history. However, with October 1st approaching, I'm genuinely concerned. There seems to be a little to no tangible progress or visible roadmap towards achieving this coalition. Are we once again going to wait until the night of September to attempt what should have been built gradually over time? Is there any practical mechanism or structural efforts underway to move this conversation from words to action? Son Derek is writing from Douala. It takes me to the question I had for you. You said that you have consulted with the political parties, though you say you are also going to work with civil society organizations. You were just concluding these consultations with Bello Buba Maigari and Issa Chiroma Bakari, who all expressed their readiness to go according to your proposal.
Yes, sir.
Now, after this, what next?
Okay, I would like to say to the people that feel that there's not enough time or that nothing is going on, I'd like to tell them that, number one, politics does not necessarily always take place in front of the media.
Okay.
Most things in politics are done discreetly and then silently, and then good politics. In good politics, you do first, you announce later. Because if you announce too early, then you have forces that are against you that will start working against you. So I want to say to the Cameroonian people, please be hopeful, because I have been in this thing for 30 years. That is from 1992. That is the first multi-party presidential election to this one, which is really the sixth one. And then I've never seen as much talking among the candidates as I'm seeing now. So there's a lot of talking taking place, and you will not see the result of it at the beginning of the talk. Let's just be hopeful. People put the pressure, keep expressing anytime you can that, hey, political leaders, we want a coalition. That's the part of the people. Let us try, like people of a group of Douala and any other groups that may be there. We don't have the monopoly of talking to people, that to try to arrange, like in a diplomatic manner, get those people to do what? To first, like I say, agree on a common program. That's the key. And then come to the people and, common program that will also be palatable for the people. It's important. It cannot just be something that's good for political leaders. It has to also be something that's good for the people. That will contain things like how they're going to solve the crisis, in the Northwest, Southwest. You have to have a concrete proposal how you're going to solve it. You have to have a concrete proposal how you're going to get rid of France invasion into our politics and economy. You have to explain to us how you intend to find the place of Cameroon in this multipolar world that is happening, so on and so forth. So, but they can have a common ground on that. What kind of government are we going to have? What form of government are we going to have if we win? All those things have to be clear, stated, and then said to the people, this is what we will do if this coalition ever wins. I want to remind also to the people that Frundi wasn't picked 6 months before the election. No. It was about 2 months. Do you understand? Why? Because we had already sold the program to the people. So it was just a matter now of picking a candidate. And then as it sounds today, most likely, even for tactical reasons, we will first let the people even actually go and then get in front of the Electoral Council first.
To get to see those who are going to...
those that will be admitted to qualify. Yes. You know, let me just roll, because people are asking for transparency. I'll be transparent with them.
Okay.
At first, we will convene mainly to first get that common program. As we are convening to have that program, people may already be deciding for this candidate or that candidate or this candidate or that candidate. Fine. That's the first level. And, you know, a person can go there to that meeting and then say, oh, hey, I like what Akere say, now I'm behind him. The person say, I like what Bello say, I'm behind him, and stuff like that. I won't run. I'll just walk with him. Good. Then they go and then they put the candidature. And not everybody that aspire to be a candidate will actually be retained by the Electoral Council.
Yeah.
And even those that would take it to the Constitutional Court are not sure that they will pass. One of them is Kamto, is not sure. If he persists in trying to be presented by CRM, most likely he might not be. And then even what is his name? Cabral. You know, we don't know what Kona is going to pull out of his hat. You know, in the last minute, that will take the matter back to court and then say to the Constitutional Council, look, you're not the president.
We have two parties.
You have two parties.
Yeah,
so they'll do like they did with UPC, you remember? Yeah. So things like that can happen. So for that reason, as we were consulting with people, they say, you know what? We can pick one person, and then when we go there, that person is rejected by the Constitutional Council. Then what we do? It's too late. So let's just go. There's no problem. Those that can pay the 30 million and then meet all the criteria, they are there. And then in the last moment, we pick the candidate. And then I personally agreed to that way. Why? Because if we start talking that candidate issue first, I'm telling you, we will not go anywhere. Let's talk about what we're going to do, and then agree on what we're going to do. Get the people to agree to it. At that time, I'm telling you, put even a monkey, the people will vote for him.
Now, you're fronting for a coalition. What would be the objective of that coalition? You see, you would not want to see the manifesto of one political party brandished as that of the leading coalition. How would the coalition work? They sit down, come up with key issues they want to fix.
Yes.
For Cameroon.
Yes, definitely. There are, you know, like when we sit down as Cameroonians, we see certain key issues that we all agree on. It's almost like you have a house, right? And then the house is falling off. Then you have problem in the house. When it rains, water is seeping through the roof, and then, you know, the walls is breaking, doors are not closing, and stuff like that. And now everybody comes out with this solution. Some people say, let's just change the doors, and then other people say, let's paint back the walls, and then or they say just change the roof and things of that nature. Then at one point when you sit down together, you look at all those solutions, and then you find out, no, it's the foundation of the house that's not good. Let's just work together and then address the foundation issue. Then after we address the foundation issue, we can now move into having our differences as to which color the wall, what type of doors, and, you know, what type of curtain we put on the windows and stuff like that, because political party programs are issue of that type. Color of the wall, the number of rooms in the house, the doors, stuff like that. But there's something in the country that's called the foundation. You know, that's why we talk. If you see all the people are agreeing that Cameroon has to, that what is broken in Cameroon is the foundation. So we have to first fix the foundation. And then when you talk about refounding a country, you have some elements. Number one, you have to do the refounding of the citizen themselves. That is, go through a process where you define for Cameroonian what it means to be a Cameroonian. That might sound like a crazy question, but if you ask to Cameroonian, you might be shocked to have 20 different answers from 20 different people. What does that really mean to be a Cameroonian? What kind of mentality or what kind of values or common values do we have? So that's one of the refounding themes. The second theme is the institution. What type of institution do we want? Are we going to have this neo-colonial, hyper-centralized regime to continue, or are we going to break free from foreign influence and then set up a program of a type of government that really is close to the people and then listens to the people? That people may call it federalism, other people will call it a strong decentralization, whatever the name is. But clearly everybody knows that Cameroon has to go away from this Yaoundé-based regime where all the decision, even to appoint a primary school teacher, is based in Yaoundé. So our institution need to change in that direction, not according to this political party, that political party, but set it up. We need to have a good electoral code, and stuff like that we all agree on, and stuff like that. We have to refound the economy. Yeah. Change the nature of the economy, talk about the issue of our money. Are we going to remain in the franc CFA that is robbing us, or are we going to have our own money? Stuff like that. Those are the type of refounding things that are independent of political parties. So we fix that, and then after that, about 2-3 years after, we go back to elections, and now everybody comes and say, "Yay, I like this color," and then I'm like blue, the red, stuff like that.
Neba Ambe says, I'm watching from the political capital, that is Yaoundé. Good evening to you, Neba. Kumfa Stella Kumfa is watching from Lendi behind our office here. Good evening. Yevet Vera is watching from Bamenda. For Jirune is watching from Bonaberi. Gideon Yungayong is watching from Jakiri. Yax Prof is watching from Boya. Maxella D. Madrilen is watching from Kumba. Austin Keng is watching us from Sancho. Good evening to all of you guys. And Kwe Moses is watching us from Sokapam Mbongo. Kingsley Nyamzong is watching from Muyuka. Pascal Afumbom watching to the powerful analyst here who is in the studio. Okay, many of them are sending special greetings to you,
thank
Mr.
you.
Chomini.
Thank you to our televiewers.
The approach of the Douala Group is fundamentally non-sectarian. Its goal cannot be an aggregate of regionalist demands. Okay, can we understand what the Douala Group is saying here?
Yeah, what we been actually it was we said previously
yes,
addressing some individuals.
The program late. So.
Okay. So what we were addressing there was the fact that there's a lot of individuals and that have come up lately, and then coming out with regional demands, and then acting as though the solution to the Cameroonian problem is the solution to those regional demands that they might have. I am not saying that people do not have legitimate regional demands. What we are saying that is at this point we need to solve the problem of the nation first, because if you do not solve the problem of the nation, then you might not be able to, you might not have the type of good government that will help you solve those regional issues. If you approach the political scene as I'm an Anglophone, and then the only thing that, that if they solve the Anglophone problem, then all the problem of Cameroon is solved, you're making a mistake. Is because, first of all, that will not solve the problem of Cameroon. And, so say I take an example. Just returning to federalism by itself can solve the problem of Cameroon. If we remain in the franc CFA, and then France is still controlling a lot of our money abroad, and then, we still have a centralized government. Because you have to remember that even during federalism before 1972, it was fake federalism even. So when people say they want to return to it, I always say, you want to return to what? You probably don't know what you want to return to. You know, don't be asking for something that you don't know. We need federalism for sure, but we need a new form, not the old one. You know, so or somebody saying we need the power to go back to the north. I mean, what does that mean? That the capital city will move to the north? That's not how it is. It is clear that when you go to the north, you see poverty, lack of schools, lack of hospitals, lack of everything. Even though Mr. Ajo has been president for 25 years, you understand? You know, so it clearly should tell the people that is not where the president is from. That is the issue. You know, but I even hear some people say we have to rotate president, you know, from one region to the other. Hey, the South is as poor as any other region of the country. So we have to find out true solutions to true problems, not try to regionalize it and then divide ourselves into useless fights.
Okay. So the Douala group is going to engage. Can we talk about deadlines, because very soon we're going to see the Electoral call?
Yes, I think the 12th of July is actually
it's going to be convened after. Yes, but I'm talking about the timeline for your actions.
Oh, right now the next thing that we have to do is to draft that common platform, you know, that unifying platform, and then convene a meeting, a conclave to adopt it and then announce it to the people. That can happen anytime soon. I'm going to Yaoundé tomorrow, and then that's part of the mission that I have up there. I also want to tell you one thing that's very, very important, is that there is a group called the Movement for the Foundation. That really was in the forefront of designing. They set up for themselves as a mission. Unlike most groups that were formed to have a candidate, they did not form themselves to have a candidate, but to work on like a brain trust to design, to study refundation processes in Mali, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, even in Gabon, and stuff like that, and then come out with something that is workable for Cameroon. And then they are waiting for that occasion of the conclave to present it. I am part of that group. We've been working for many, many months now. We have all the documentation from all experiences of the foundation, and then we are trying to use that knowledge or that experience of others to find something that's contextualized for Cameroon. And then when we go to that meeting, that means we will not go there empty-handed. And then in that group you have people like the Kawalas, the Henriette Ekwe, Marie-Louise Eteki, and then quite a lot of people that are quite experienced, Samen Bongo, you know, a lot of people. They may not be known by the public, most of them, but they are very, very good brains, and then political actors. You know, so in terms of timeline, definitely between now and then the time people have to do the
to deposit
the candidacy, we have to have that conclave, and then after that we will have to have one right after the Constitutional Court has given the short list, given the short list. Then we'll have one, and then we come to the people and say, because between that time and then the vote, there will be like about 45 days, and then, you know, 45 to 40 days, and then that's many enough, because the electoral campaign is only 15 days. People don't know it, but that's true.
There's just 15 days.
Yes.
So if you have
so if you have this thing a month or a month and a half before, that's ample time to say to the Cameroonian people, because we will start campaigning around the program, not around the individual. Yeah. You know, as soon as we get out of conclave, the campaign starts on the minimum program, and then after that we say to the people, okay, the people that the short list of people they met, and then this is what came out of it. This is the one that is going to carry this program for us.
Okay, and you say you've already worked on a mechanism for the selection of the person who is going to carry this. But within the group of Douala, how are decisions taken?
Right now, we take decision by consensus. That is, since our goal is so clear, so it just become a matter of, okay, what we've done this so far, what do we do next? And then, when somebody comes up with an idea, we discuss it, we'll amend or we adopt it as is, and now we announce it to the people by voie of press release, and then that's it, really. And then we send people individually to meet leaders or groups or something like that.
Is the Douala group still open for UC and meeting members?
Yes, we are. We do not. At first, we did not want to appear like we were going to debauch people from other groups, But we found out that it would be good to have a little bit more people than we have now, and then to diversify the group, because it allows us to have a better reach. So if you know somebody that knows somebody, it's best to take people that may know a lot of people, maybe in this sector or in this area of the country or something like that. So we will definitely increase the group slightly and very, very quickly. By the end of this week, we probably, you see more names under our press releases.
Are Cameroonians themselves confused with the plethora of political ideologies?
I know.
Yes. Filtering around, circulating on social media circles. One does not really know what political offer this party we know, but political leaders, we know the parties. Yes. But what concretely are these parties presenting to the people? Are the people aware?
I have to tell you one thing. Cameroon is a very, very unique case. I mean, we have about 300 political parties, and then it's a sham. Because there's no 300 ideologies going on out there. But it seems to me that it's a trick that's used by the powers that be to divide, to conquer, because like everybody can go and then create a political party, then it becomes president, then everybody call him president, and stuff like that. Then the ego start going up and up. But one thing that I can just say to the people now is that please, let's just give a chance to have that common program, and then that which common program will appeal not only to opposition, I'm telling you, but we try to design it in the way that it appeals to people that are inside the CPDM that might join us. Because you see, what we are hoping for is a peaceful transition. So if there's more defection coming in from the other side, we are likely to have a big win that will make it less likely for the military to intervene, something like that. So if we get into like a tie, that might be a bit difficult situation. So we have to have a big win. It has to be big. It can't be 39, 36 like 1992. It has to be like, we up there in the 60s and 70s, and then CPDM at about 30.
Okay.
I'm too hopeful.
Yeah. Let's see how it plays out, provided everything respects democratic principles. Yes. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Thank you for the wonderful job that you are doing. Please remind your panelists that we always witness internet cutoff when there is a serious event going on in the northwest and southwest. Let him tell us the way to fight against this during elections. If not, we will not be able to follow up the results from the polling stations. Fafi writing from Limbe. Yeah, but that does not stop you from going and recording what is happening there. Yeah.
Yes, there is. You gave the first part of my answer, is that you can record and then you keep. The only thing that that you will not have is the ability to send right away. But you can send even the next day, even 2 days after. As long as you recorded it on your phone, keep it, and then when you get internet back, you send it. But We have really gone through lots to learn from other people's experience, and then there are some friends in Zimbabwe. You know that I've also installed in South Africa. There's a friend from Zimbabwe that had a parallel voting tabulation system, and then they had the same issues. It wasn't too clear whether it was the government trying to stop it. It was just that internet wasn't, necessarily available everywhere. So there is a radio frequency that can be used to transmit the result, and then to set up that system, it is free. I mean, I can say it because the government can stop it. It's almost like a walkie-talkie type of radio frequency, and then you buy it, you set it up, and then you can use it to send a result. They send result up to like 200 kilometer, So and then you don't need no internet, you don't need no nothing, So we're getting ready to do some stuff. I think that it's the people. All I'm saying is, don't count on political party leader. No political party in 2018, other than the CPDM, was able to be everywhere. In fact, the second CRM was only present in 5,000 or so. They only collected 5,000 polling station PV. So clearly, no political party can do it alone. It's just going to be a people's movement, and then aided by technology that can make it happen.
We just hope that all of this is going to respect the rules governing
election. Yeah, all of that is absolutely legal. There's nothing. In fact, that's the trick that sometimes opposition falls into. You lose if you go into illegality. Then you got arrested, you got put in jail.
Okay.
Then you can do nothing.
Good evening, Mr. Leo.
So it's best to remain within the rules, and then let the government break the rule. But you don't have the power to break the rule, so don't break it.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. I just to let you know that if at the end the real opposition parties fail to form a coalition for the interest of a common man, most of us who have registered will not vote, and which will definitely cause voters apathy. Most of us are impatiently waiting for a coalition, and we are praying for that to happen. I'm Desiree Ngagu, writing from Douala. We have coalitions already around Honorable Joshua C. We have a coalition around Professor Maurice Kamto, Akere Muna, Barrister Akere Muna. In these postures, how do you bring them
together,
step down from the horses on which they now sit to flow with what you're proposing?
I want to say to the televiewer that they shouldn't be looking for the person, but paying more attention to the content of the program.
Okay.
And then that people have to remember to follow the program, and then go for the person that adopted the program, and then be ready that some people might refuse to join the common program. And then if they refuse to join the common program, go out there and don't vote for them. Do you understand? Don't stay home, because we don't expect all people, all political parties to come together as one. That will not happen. There are too many of them that have been created by the CPDM, and that if you sit and expect that all of them will come together and one day, you're making a mistake. That's why we first say, let's come together on the common program, and then they agree to it, and then the masses agree to it. Once the people have agreed and then the masses have agreed, it doesn't matter anymore who actually takes on that thing, because it's our collective stuff. And then the political leaders that will now pull out of it, then they pull out of it, and then they suffer the political consequences of the decision, which is the people let them down. So it's the people that have to decide. I want to say to Cameroonians, stop passing the buck to to the political party leaders. Their ego is too much, and there's no mechanism to really wake up some of them. However, if they feel, those that are sincere among them, that feel that the people want something and then are willing to listen, then we'll get something. Mr. Leo, I can tell you one thing, is that there are some political parties, if they are in that coalition, we think that it will work. If you have, just to name two of them, if you have UNDP and CRM, even if all the people don't come, that would be
just two.
No, not just two, because
those two.
Those two. Yeah. I wasn't saying just the two, but I'm saying if you have those two in the coalition, you are likely to have more people that will come and join, and then the people also have more hope. But if you had something like Chiruma and I don't know Cabral, you understand, then that would be a little bit weaker. But clearly, having said that, though, our hope is to have all of them. You understand? Have all of them, but more importantly, to have the people say, I don't care who are the people that follow this program, we will be voting for the program, not for the individual. You know, so because those political leaders, there's a sense to people, they listen. And if they see that their own militants are coming to them, like the militants of Bello Buba and then Chiruma, and then telling them, we don't want you to work with the CPDM anymore, then those political leaders, they might change. Some might not, but others will.
You guys recently met with Issa Chiruma Bakari in Yaoundé, as well as Bello Buba Maigari.
Yes.
What is your real weight? What weight do they pull? What political weight do they carry?
Well, the unfortunate thing in weighing the political strength of a person is by past results.
Okay.
That does not necessarily translate into future ones or present ones, but that's all one get, right? And then when you talk about Bello Buba, you're talking about, I mean, we just said that earlier, but I'll repeat, that's 7 members of parliament, that's 560 councillors, that's one region out of the 10 region that is ruled by the Adamawa region is ruled by UNDP.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about the individual Bello Buba himself, he has a serious political CV. You know, the man has been a prime minister, he's been a minister before, then a prime minister, then a state minister for almost 20 years. You know, so you're talking about somebody that is that has weight. That's when you sit down, then you talk politics with him. It's not like talking politics with Cabral or, I don't know, somebody that just came into politics just yesterday. You know, so, and those are people that have connections outside of the country, things of that nature. You know, and so that's a lot of weight. Now, people may feel that they might not have used that weight to the general benefit of the people by aligning themselves with Pobia. True enough, but I say better late than never. They dump him, and then at a particular good time for the people. So we should embrace them. I do not think, but I don't want to say it. Maybe. Because as a group of Douala, we have to be neutral. But hey, I'm just saying that people may necessarily think that it means that they have to be the candidate. And then I'm saying, please, let's not go there yet. Nobody has so far been retained by the Constitutional Council. Let's wait. That's a debate for another time. Let's first agree on whatever we will do together, shall we win. Once we do that, then everybody will have a compass, and then we will definitely come out with one person.
Okay.
And then Chiruma too. Chiruma, I think he has 3 MPs, and then some stuff in the north there. So these are nothing political leaders. In comparison, you will have then in the traditional opposition, to call it like that for lack of a better word, you have SDF that has 5 MPs, and then I don't know how many councils they have, if they have any.
They have councils.
They have some. They have councillors for
They
sure.
have councils.
Oh, they have some
They have
councils.
one council in
Okay.
Bamenda, they have a council in Bafoussam, they have one somewhere
Yes, exactly.
in Nemungwe. Yeah.
So they have so few councils.
Yeah.
Cabral has
Yes,
5
councils.
MP. He has also eight councils, though we might have lost 2 recently. But so they I was just trying to show in comparison that Bello, for instance, beats everybody in terms of those numbers.
Okay.
But having said that, all of them are useful. I want to be very clear that we love to have SDF, we love to have MSA, we love to have PCRN working together with the Bello and Pius and all the political parties, that they should come together. That's our hope, because none of them alone can amount to anything. And then the proof is there to show, the history is there to show. All the political parties, the tendencies, that is, one election to the other, have dropped.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Liu. This guy is saying just the facts. We need to fix the foundations first. All opposition leaders should come together for a better Cameroon. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. The opposition parties must come together under one canopy before they can defeat the CPM regime. The mainstream opposition parties like the SDF, the CRM, the PCRN, PUS should keep their ego aside and work as a team. Divine is watching from Edea. Mr. Liu, thank you so much for your guest. I'm in school learning this evening, indeed. My worry is this, do they have any mechanism to guarantee the security of those willing to record and share polling data? Because experience shows that some excited political elites in this day are up to all to make sure they obtain their desires. Derek Wala is writing from Chang. It is as simple. By the time they're counting, almost everybody is by the law.
By law,
yeah.
By law. That's what I want Cameroonians to also stand their ground when they are on the side of law. I'm not asking to anybody to do anything illegal. I repeated that 3 times. You just read the law. The law says that the proclamation of the result at the polling station is open and democratic. Everybody has the right to be there. And as far as I know, there is no restriction in terms of the cell phones getting inside the polling station. And even if there is, you can stay by the window and take the picture of the board, because when they count, they put it on the board. If you can't have the, how you call PV in English, those poll result in the paper where that everybody signs, if you don't have that, it doesn't matter. Just take the picture of the board and then send it. That would be enough.
Okay, I hope it answers what
and
your worry is.
And then let me tell you one other thing.
I'm not sure anybody is going to arrest.
No, they don't have the right to arrest you.
The results, because they put SDF 1, CPDM 2, NUDP 3.
That's
Everybody
right.
is there watching.
Exactly.
What stops you from just taking a picture?
You snap it. That's it. Just snap it, and then go in groups, so that because I hear them though in hidden, far in the country. In the city, it will be a little bit difficult, but like there's some regions where people kind of terrorize, and then there's power abuse. Just be 2, 3, 4 of you, something like that, because and then resist when somebody is coming illegally to you and then give you my phone. Nobody has the right to take your phone. Come on, it's your personal property. So if they ask you, you say no.
Okay. So Cameroonians who have watched this program are now very clear about what the group of Douala is all about and what they have been doing. Can we just remind for our latecomers what the group is all about?
So once again, I would say that the group of Douala is informal groupings of leaders, opinion leaders actually. Some of them political party leaders, other civil society leaders, but they come in that group not in the name of the party. They come on the individual ground based on the experience that they have in fighting. They've had, so most of them have been fighting for 30, 40 years, like me. And then we are trying to bring our experience to bear so that we are successful after studying years of failure, that we can learn lessons from that failure and then have success this time. So that's what the group of Douala is made of. And then our strategy is to try to persuade the political parties, particularly those that will present candidates, that they must work together, and then also get the civil society organization and leaders to support that coalition when the campaign starts, because political parties alone cannot campaign, and then control all the polling stations, and then more importantly educate the people on their right to to vote, to participate actively, to punish political leaders that do not listen to them by not voting for them.
You've spoken so much about your involvement, your engagement with political parties. Very little has been said about your engaging the civil society, maybe a traditional and religious authority. Do you also intend to work with them?
Oh, yes, we absolutely intend to do that. You know that at one point, maybe I'm just giving you a secret here, but in 1992, the candidate that the Union for Change wanted to have was Cardinal Toomey.
Yeah.
And we courted him for many months. And unfortunately, at last he refused to stand. And then that's when, in the precipitation, almost we picked Frundi. And there is also a talk among us that maybe the candidate that might bring everybody together might be somebody from the civil society, maybe a preacher, maybe something. But I do not think that 2025 is exactly 1992. Yes. It might be a little bit difficult, but definitely in terms of voting control, parallel voting tabulation, civil society will play a very important role, and then the churches will also play a very important role, because they're almost everywhere. And I believe that everybody wants this election to be peaceful. There's nothing more dangerous than an election at which at the end nobody knows for sure who has won. And then I am giving you my word, and then to the televiewer here, if the system, the software that I have shows that we have lost, I'll come and then say straight to the Cameroonian people, we have lost. Because you don't want this type of situation where, after every election, everybody's saying, I won. And then the thing is, when you go and ask the person, usually the opposition guy, you say you won, can you have some sort of proof that you won? Yeah, I got no proof. And then also creates a useless tension. If we win, we win. If we lose, then we just have to incline ourselves and then accept that.
What is your candid observation of what has been done so far by the respective existing coalitions created some months back? Do you see the people mobilized to follow them? Are people actually believing in them and
no
following?
I have to be plain. No, not at all. I told most of those candidates that it was a mistake for them to put their individual self before what they wanted for the people.
Yes.
But none of them listened. They all were under the impression that if they put their personality out there, that it would draw the people. Using this French expression, that l'élection présidentielle est la rencontre entre un individu et son peuple. So that presidential election is the meeting of one individual and the people. It is not the case in Cameroon. Forget it. That's not what happens here. What happens here is the people yearning for change that are ready to vote a monkey, as long as that monkey promises them change, and then that are so fed up with a system that has been there for 43 years. So you can You can't come with your
But
personality
you
and then
cannot
put it
also
in front.
deny the fact that those supporting the regime are Cameroonians. They also constitute part of the
But,
Cameroonian public.
but that's precisely what, because when I'm talking now, unfortunately, I'm kind of biased, right? I'm talking for the people that want change. And then I keep saying to the people that say that they want change, and then I've been saying it for the past 30 years, that somehow you are flawed somewhere because you always undermine the other people, you diabolize them, think that they're stupid and stuff like that. But the civilian people are not stupid.
They are working.
They have a lot of means. They are very organized. They have highly intelligent people. You know, that's why they win always. They can say, yeah, they rig, but you have to be even intelligent to rig for 43 years. You know, so, and then, so if you therefore want to bring down such a regime, you have to exercise some level of intelligence. You cannot just count on passion and stuff like that, which unfortunately is the case for most political parties. Unfortunately, I have to say, but that's the truth. And then we're just hoping now that we get the people involved so that the people now start acting intelligently and now just kind of rid us of those useless people that are just keeping the same busy but not helping in any way. This election will not be played on the charisma of an individual, because in 1992 it wasn't upon the charisma of John Fundi that it happened. It was after that story was told. But during the election, that was not the case. During the election, you had people everywhere going, and then they were looking for the national conference and then 2-year transition. That's what got us to win in 1992. When I was voting, people didn't know Fundi. Come on. And then plus, most people that voted for him spoke French and no English at all in those days. Fundi couldn't say one word of French. You understand? So when people were voting for him, they definitely wasn't voting for that individual. They were voting for the program that he carried. And then that, unfortunately, after that, SDF itself changed the narrative and then start telling another story, that it was because it was charismatic, it was, cutting bullets and, stuff like that. But that had nothing to do with that. And then we have to get out of that messianism, savior syndrome, and not focus on individual, but focus on program, what they're going to do, and then show to the people how what they plan to do is going to change their personal lives, and then get them involved, because it's the people at the end of the day that change the system.
Okay, Mr. Jukam Chamini, thank you for accepting our invitation to be our guest on tonight's edition of the program. We thought that it was necessary to educate Cameroonians on what you have been doing and the essence for the creation of the Douala Group.
Thank you, Mr. Kum, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Okay, we want to thank you all who have taken the pains to watch this edition of the program. If you missed it, tomorrow at 1 p.m. on My Media Prime TV, there's going to be a rebroadcast of this same edition of the program. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Loyalty is key in both love and family relations. That is why it needs to be rewarded. Throughout this year, there is 500 millions to share as a reward for your loyalty. Subscribe to the OM Loyalty Program no matter your network on #150*0# or via the OM tab on Max Eat. Accumulate up till 100 points and win 10,000 francs automatically every month. And you also become eligible for other great prizes. Try your luck. You too can become a winner. We are Bango Bango right to the end.
Orange Money.
Pay your taxes and custom fees at Express Exchange. The solution is close to you. Enter an Express Exchange agency, head to the cash register with your tax notice, and make your payment of tax and custom fees with ease. Receive a confirmation receipt. So cool, Moula. Yes, Moula.